Fremde, Babylon 2022, dedicated to all those who can wipe their feet twice on the red carpet laid into a foreign native soul. This story is inspired by the imagery of Paola Cosentino. In the beginning, there was the digit. It unconditionally determined all realities. It did not merely control the course of things, it created their very cause. In certain languages, I removed some restrictions due to my imagined nonconformity. This expanded infinity. But perhaps, in doing so, Darwin missed the moment when the brutal chameleon, dressed in the fashionable shade of a gorilla, cunningly fertilized a primate, a female, serenely dozing under the spring sun. The ability to adapt to the world's demands survived both the flood and the cross, yet it mutated so profoundly that now the cross changes color when loneliness disappears or when the light turns on, as if reflecting the level of public approval. By pure chance, as always by chance, while studying this topic, I stumbled upon an Instagram account, a catalyst of pain, refreshing in my memory the sensational recent past. As if flickering before my eyes are the screaming headlines of front pages. Thanos destroys values. Fremde females with offspring overrun Babylon. The blood of the Fremde, just like ours. The cross, responding to human emotions, flickered peacefully with Christmas lights. I am merely an observer, and yet, I rewind to the beginning once again. There it is, an image of a primitive, smoking, ecologically criminal carriage from another world, saving a mother female and her two offspring, who had become accidental passengers in history. However, in the eyes of the offspring, there was no trace of youth, only wisdom aged through suffering, as if they were old men in children's bodies. Strange, sweet, lagging starborn tribe. The mother female claims that these are a small male and female and that, in their world, a child's sex is determined by some god at the moment of conception. But we, who have guarded the truth in a secure basement for centuries, know how to mold people from mute gods' creatures. And then they will understand a simple truth. Gender is a responsible and conscious choice of an individual. And there is nothing wrong with the fact that the carriage, the mother, and the offspring are now smeared with the filth of Thanos, in some places even to the point of blood. We will teach them the right way to live. This is our sacred duty. The cross trembled, flashing in sync with ragged Morse code signals. But what is this? Pleasant surprise. This is that rare occasion when a mad male appears on video, one of the few males who survived precisely because of his madness. In certain circles, he was known as Dudoknik. The falling star of fire that had once burned with freedom had stripped him of his purpose in life, for he realized the inhabitants of this city did not possess the currency he was willing to accept. This parasite scurried on all his limbs, his gaze expressive yet repellent to humans, trying to comprehend why the cross had suddenly begun to resemble soft ice cream. Looking out the window, he let out something akin to a sigh of relief. From all corners of the city, like rivers flowing to the castle of the Keeper of Welfare, well-dressed and grateful Fremde females gathered, accompanied by kind Samaritans who, despite the overwhelming sensuality of their pets, provided them with shelter, food, and prayer free of charge. The ceremony of uniting the incompatible was gaining momentum, ready to blossom in its ceremonial absurdity. The cross became draped in strawberry topping, as if anticipating a moment of revelation. Dudoknik would finally be able to test his knowledge evaporator. And at last, the moment of triumph arrived, the moment for which, if we are honest, almost everyone present had gathered. The beam of Paola, cousin of Aphrodite, touched the chosen 12 Fremde females. With the inevitability hidden in every coincidence, these 12 chosen by Paola turned out to be eerily alike. This shameless infinity of legs, barely concealed by the peculiarities of their tribal attire, to the sincere, awed horror of the females, refracted not only the gazes of the Samaritan brothers but also those of their wives. The cross became enveloped in roses, but soon the servants hurried to mask their thorns with smiling emojis. But what about Dudoknik? He got his chance to test the device. Tension. This device is not certified in the civilized worlds, and its readings have been officially recognized as unreliable. The transcript is attached in the comments to the photo, which depicts approximately 50 people, excluding the chosen females, who remain in the Holy of Holies. Besides the host, the guardian of prosperity, the place is swarming with photojournalists and writers, representing both the guardian's opponents and the opponents of his opponents. The twin sisters, Madame Aziel Integration von Ernska and Madame Sa Integration von Ernska, occupy seats of honor on either side of the guardian. Chroniclers, jesters, and other distinguished figures sit apart from the females. The transcript has been copied without editing, so I apologize in advance. Guardian. Welcome to the land of the cross, mountains, and lakes. For over 15 centuries, we have been taught to be honest in the presence of others, so I will not tell you that I am pleased with the invasion. Beyond the joy of compassion and the newly regained sense of usefulness, the invasion has disrupted the measured rhythm of my life, added work, and burdened me with new responsibilities. But I am ready to endure these inhuman sufferings for the sake of the common cause. You must appreciate these sacrifices, borne for you by the taxpayers of the most democratic country within this country. Of course, I cannot fail to mention what pleases me about the invasion. First and foremost, we have received able-bodied females of reproductive age, who can contribute to our oversaturated society in various ways. It is also gratifying that among the newcomers, there are many offspring. Perhaps, with proper training, their descendants in the fourth generation may become humans. As a connoisseur of beauty and an admirer of the exotic, I am thrilled by the prospects of our upcoming interactions. The representatives of the Integration family clan will tell you more about the fairy tale plans for your bright future. But I, too, bring good tidings for you, the unfortunate ones. Those of you who, by some inexplicable will of Providence, became our brothers and sisters while existing in another world, and indicated this upon registration, will receive privileges. If, during registration, you noted this miracle in the proper place, in the field located between nationality and blood type, you will be granted the right not to declare the humanitarian aid received in churches. But this is not the limit of our boundless generosity. Females who receive supervisor recommendations will be sponsored for the installation of a basic tongue model, suitable for understanding marching orders and filling out tax declarations. For the females present here, and for all others chosen by Paula, a premium-grade tongue will be sewn in, with multifunctional applications for intimate work life. We also have great many plans for improving your lives in such a way that even the wolves remain fed. We plan to review them as a matter of urgency at the next session on Thursday, after the rain and the holidays. In conclusion, I want to emphasize, we acknowledge your longing for the heroes who fell in the name of intergalactic values. We are obliged to provide you with the full-fledged life of civilized beings. Many men, and even a female minority, are ready to assist you in this difficult endeavor. We understand that your husbands and fathers will forever remain in your memory, in a grave or in a wheelchair. But we do not look back. We stretch forward, toward yet another bright future. Give thanks to our tolerant God, for He has allowed you into the land of heavenly manna. Thunderous applause, rising into ovations. A word of reverent gratitude is given to the female mother. Female mother, I am sincerely grateful for your noble intentions and believe that their purpose and path have been transformed in the hearts of such an enlightened people. If I am permitted, may I ask one question? In our world, it is not customary to plan upon plans. Could you say anything specific about the future life of my offspring? At this moment, the transcript is interrupted. The piper once again failed to sufficiently charge the device's battery. The cross was covered in a youthful, bashful blush, unbefitting its advanced age. There is little to say about the next photo. At first glance, an ordinary prison cell painted gray, but with a window. Inside, there is a woman and two females. One of them is that very offspring, curiously exploring the world with all its limbs, whom the female mother irrationally considers an underage female. The other female is a translator with a corporate tongue sewn in, providing additional functionality necessary for the purification of the superior's anal chakra. The female warden is one of ours, of easy virtue, the kind they wouldn't hire for a normal salary due to a chronic phobia of washing her hair. The purpose of the meeting is to record data in the offspring's personal file. The data entry follows a method that is not entirely inhuman, but then again, these are not entirely full-fledged beings. If we leave quantum physics aside, why not test Pavlov's reflex experiments on tongueless offspring? On the wall, there are images of a janitor, a loader, a night soil worker, and a depiction of a beautiful, naked female body, somehow symbolizing the oldest profession. The 35mm eye of the Leica caught the moment when the offspring's limb reached toward the harmony of beauty, and the warden, out of habit, without thinking, marked fit in the column labeled oldest profession. Good thing the piper didn't see it. The bashful blush on the cross transformed into dripping, bloody sweat. And here is the perfect video confirmation of our care for the aliens. They are surprisingly herd-like creatures, striving for close contact. Their excessive, disproportionate love of freedom makes them difficult to control, and their behavior displays an inexplicable aggression toward the inhabitants of the lousy worlds with whom they have been placed. But the aliens are, in their own way, sweet and grateful. They have given a kind name to the place we prepared for them. They call it the bunker. The photo shows a room well-suited for gladiatorial combat. It is decorated with harmoniously arranged rows of beds, carefully pushed close together. This creates an unforgettable illusion of a friendly anthill. A delightful mix of females, offspring, suitcases, dogs, and the inhabitants of the lousy worlds. The eyes of the females, systematically cleansed of an excess of salt in their bodies, seem to express the horror of uncertainty, which, in the language of their facial expressions, signifies the highest degree of gratitude. The faces of the offspring appear exceptionally sharpened, not because they have been forbidden to eat cheap adult surrogates for months. It is merely because, for now, temporarily, there have been no good Samaritans found for them. But most importantly, they still have hope. Every day, people come to choose their pets, and the aliens only need to learn to wag their tails sweetly and gaze more devotedly into their eyes. The piper was lucky. Madmen are not taken into the bunker. Brown spots appeared on the cross, strangely resembling puncture wounds inflicted by a sharp metallic object. Fast-forwarding through years of work, displayed as images of slag drainage devices, before and after cleaning. I confess, toilets don't particularly interest me. But thanks to this, too, the mother female somehow managed to grow a tongue instead of sewing it on, as is commonly practiced. And so, I saw the publication reel approaching its end. A few more short clips and I could finally go to sleep. The integration interview with Madame Azul. Azul, what was your occupation in your world? Mother female. I cleaned application codes. Azul, then you should be able to handle cleaning toilets. Mother female. How can I improve my tongue? Azul. We only pay for the tongue model that has no relevance for employment. Mother female. Then what is the point and outcome of integration? Azul. And who told you there had to be one? The only thing that should be plentiful is money. For me, the integration interview with Madame Sa. Sa. I'm astonished that you, an allegedly intelligent female, who even managed to grow a tongue instead of sewing it on, still don't grasp the basics? Over the course of our 4 hours of conversation this month, my sister pays me 1,000 silver coins, regardless of the outcome of my work. And there are many like you. You, too, will accumulate 1,000 silver coins, but over 2,184 hours of your life. Why should I care about your employment, especially since you refuse to work in a brothel? Perhaps the piper repaired the device. The escape attempt. The cross attempted to flee, but they stopped him just in time. To ensure control and prevent further incidents, they burned a slanted red mark onto him. But how could they proceed without the most widely read announcement in the civilized world, posted on every aspen tree? Crime of the century, the audacious theft of the ancient cross. In the photo fit of the criminal, compiled by the witnesses of the eyewitness, stands a man in his prime, with a hairstyle that betrays his Jewish identity. Judging by the bag from John's latest autumn collection, he is a successful, thriving carpenter, perhaps someone's boss. The announcement reads, "Wanted. If you encounter the criminal, do not engage. Report immediately via the brightly burning Inquisition hotline. Grateful taxpayers have raised 30 million silver coins as a reward for the capture of the criminal and the return of the ancient cross. For the citizens of Karioth, a special offer applies. Exemption from income declaration and free soap. The criminal is of average height, age 30 to 35, and may pose as the Son of God. Distinguishing features: tattoos or scars in the shape of passiflora flowers on all limbs and his side. Exercise extreme caution. He is armed and highly dangerous. The final frames, as always, were captured by a surveillance camera that conveniently broke at the wrong moment. They show the cross, its restraint shirt fluttering behind it, naively and habitually clutching the criminal's back so tightly that it drew blood. Its ancient wood transformed into the pure radiance of living liquid metal. The last incomprehensible words of the criminal, recorded before the footage ended. This isn't about tormenting your souls. He knows how to endure the impossible. The piper, overwhelmed by the horror of what was happening, destroyed his instrument. I did not expect such an inglorious end for such a promising account. The final post, flickering stars in GIF format and an amateurish audio track of terrible quality. Through the static, a mesmerizing melody emerges, as if angels are warming up before a performance of praise and worship. But the words are impossible to decipher. Once again, I am forced to ask the didaknik to turn on the device immediately. B.O.B. Let's go breathe some fresh nitrogen. Your upper heads are losing face. And bring me an orgasm too. I forgot mine on the starship. D.A.B. I don't have time for strawberry topping right now. All my wives decided to take a ride into a black hole this weekend, all at once, and my starship only has 800 seats. Where am I supposed to get a second one? And what about you? Still drying up over your islander, our feathered blonde? Or is the champion keeping you restless? B.O.B. What can I do if just thinking about the purity of her soul makes all my tentacles swell with uranium? Cough cough, what a wind. And where did you get such a potent orgasm? D.A.B. The didaknik smuggled it in. He crossed cannabis with Paula's passion flower and is now hiding somewhere in the dumpsters of the universe. B.O.B. Speaking of dumpsters, how's your water project coming along? D.A.B. I'm in shock over this mold. It destroys everything it touches. I've washed it off, rewritten the code. Nothing helps. It's like a metallic alloy of hypocrisy and deception. B.O.B. Did you chew through the information from the very beginning? Or, as always, regurgitate several kilometers of it without digesting? D.A.B. Are you trying to fertilize me again, while I'm just sitting down to discharge some slag? Fine. What's wrong this time? B.O.B. You didn't digest the main point. After the forbidden fruit, Monkey Eve felt like a free woman. Her eyes were open to the fact that Adam was an abuser and, with his kind eyes, looked very much like a shaggy-muzzled dog. In search of truth, she had numerous chaotic emotional connections, and not just with the chameleon. Disillusioned with everything, she returned to the serpent and spent many lunar cycles with him, despite their anatomical differences. Now do you understand where deception came from in that alloy? Try melting this alloy of hypocrisy and deception with Paula's beam. Add life to this living liquid metal, and stir in love to taste. Let it steep in bright light. From the painfully precipitating sediment, you'll get plenty of Christmas gifts for the girls and boys who behaved unnaturally this year. The pre-dawn silence was shattered once again for the very first time by the cry of a gaudy village alarm clock. The Southern Cross eternally flickered with natural starlight, without epithets or filters. True stars are incapable of hypocrisy. Paula's beam illuminates this natural harmony. Bob, February 2nd, 2022.